ask yourself a damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5, the team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung. I'm welcoming back. I don't even get to see it as always because Zach's not here. Nick, you're returning. I'm very, very happy to say Teddy Bear 2 is back in the studio.
You know, ever since I came on the show, I've been a mainstay, and the one time that John actually introduced me as the always present Teddy Bear 2, I got yelled at by Zach.
Yeah, okay, that's why I was saying I'm not going to say as always, A, because you weren't here on our last broadcast, so you can't be as always.
That's true.
And joining us, the man who was a closer, who switched to middle relief, who's now apparently our starter for Mondays, Jason Gringer.
Starting pitcher slot.
Like, please don't turn this into a Danny Bard situation where you're supposed to be our star closer and then you kind of get thrown into the starting rotation and you crap out. Don't do it.
I will not be Danny Bard. I'll try to be Justin Masterson, but maybe a little bit better.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you can. Well, then we'd have to trade you to like NBC or something. We don't want to do that. We like being on CBS radio.
Don't just come in here with a 100-mile-per-hour fastball and think it's going to be all good. That's not the way it's going to go.
I believe, didn't Rick Ankiel try to do the same thing, just throw as hard as possible, and that didn't go well?
Yeah, throwing as hard as you can does not always guarantee good things.
Well, he had a decent outfield career.
Yeah, that is, until he started.
You want to be moved to the outfield now? That's what you're saying?
Well, I'm a natural outfielder.
See, now he just wants to be in the everyday
Well, you know what? Speaking of people that have 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and no direction at all, I believe we have an announcement. I will be throwing out the first pitch on Wednesday for the Rochester Red Wings game.
Did he just say that he has an actual 100-mile-per-hour fastball? No direction, I'll give it to you.
I'm going to make sure that they announce me when I go on the field as the 100-mile-an-hour hurler, Jonathan Sprung.
Like, you hurl at 100, like your stomach comes up at 100 miles. That I could believe.
Yeah, it's open.
Because when we eat some of the food that you recommend, my stomach will turn.
It's completely open to interpretation, as is much of what we talk about on the Star Fantasy League show. You can digest all of the fantasy information we give to you, but you don't have to take it.
And you cannot digest John Old's food.
Oh, my God. You got to attack the food yet again. We have sponsors, Nick. You can't attack what I talk about.
When I miss a day, I just got to take advantage. I come back like firing.
You know what the funny thing is? On Friday, I was supposed to mention the food truck that we went to, but since neither of the people that went there are on this show, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It just goes nowhere because Greg went there, Seth Young went there. Neither of them are on the show anymore. Sorry.
It's not allowed. If we're not present and eating that food,
it's
got to be a majority vote, right?
All right, guys. Exactly. We talk about food on Tuesdays. That's not going to happen today. But you know what we are talking about? We can't be accountable. The only thing we can be accountable for, we'll talk about in John's mailbag later, but I believe I called the finals before the playoffs started. I did say San Antonio in a storybook win over Miami. Didn't happen in 7.
Surely was a storybook. What we saw these past 4 or 5 games. Well, I'm not so much in their loss, obviously, but all those 4 wins, they just dominated that team, and it was really a sight to behold, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all of the records that were broken in this individual NBA Finals, but there were a lot of them.
Yeah. Offensively, and it was as a team. It wasn't just, we're not just watching one player take control of the entire thing. It was just really refreshing to watch.
Yeah, the Heat looked pathetic.
There's not much you could do to look good against that Spurs team, though. I mean, we can talk about the Heat all we want, but the Spurs were the story. They were the story.
Yep.
They were indeed the story. We're going to be talking about that in John Old's mailbag. We also have a very, very special guest, a member of the Red Sox Baseball Hall of Fame. Bill Spaceman Lee is going to be on John Old's mailbag today as well.
I can't wait. I'm extremely excited for this.
We got guests coming out the wazoo. Friday, Derek Montilla was on. We got Bill Spaceman Lee today.
We're hooking it up.
It's going to be a packed show. We're going to continue doing this. We're going to the Red Wings game on Wednesday. If you want to join us, just tweet us at SFL Show. We'll still have a pair of tickets for you if you tweet at us. It's easy, right?
Do it.
Free tickets.
Wait, we have for everybody
Oh
that
my
tweets at us?
God, Nick, I swear.
I'll tweet. I'll do it.
You're not getting free tickets. That's not for you. That's for our listeners. All you have to do is tweet us at SFL Show. Just tell us who you are, where you are. We'll put some tickets out. We'll call for you. You'll get free tickets.
How about that?
If you missed Father's Day, you didn't give your dad a present, Easy tickets. Look at that. Pretty easy, right?
Sorry, Dad.
Oh, you know
3
what?
days late.
Yeah, whatever. Things happen. But yeah, I'm going to be throwing out the first pitch. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come down, join us. You'll see us in Star Fantasy League shirts. We'll be covering the game. It'll be a lot of fun. But we got to get to today's baseball. We got some pitchers to talk about. There's only 11 games. We have 22 pitchers set into 3 different tiers, which is what we do on Mondays. The 3 tiers are 15,000 and up, 10 to 15K, and 10K and under on starfantasyleagues.com. So let's start out with the top. There's 3 guys in here, but I want to know your thoughts on these because they're kind of expensive. We have Julio Teheran, Cole Hamels, and Jason Hamill. There's too much Hamill in this category.
There's too much
I'm sorry.
ham. Too much ham to go around.
All right, I'm going to start at the top. Teheran, I don't know. I have him listed as my number 1, but do you guys really love anybody in this tier that much that you're going to take one of them?
I love Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels is pitching his mind out right now.
Well, I'm taking Teheran.
There's a teddy bear right there. Wow.
you just teddy bear it. It's okay.
Well,
Sometimes it happens.
Hamels and Teheran, they're going up against each other tonight.
Yep.
So it's pick one or the other. You're going Hamels?
Well, I mean, I just like the way he's been pitching recently. He seems to have regained that ace form that he had a couple years ago. And, I mean, you got to kind of ride the wave while you get it. And I know that Atlanta's a strong team. You know, Julio, I think, has a better matchup against the Phillies. But I don't know. I like the way he's been throwing the ball.
See, my only problem with that is Atlanta is really, really bad against righties, but also really exceptionally good against lefties, which is they're top of the league, or excuse me, top 2 in the league at one and bottom 3 in the league in the other. So they are completely on different sides of the spectrum. I wouldn't honestly touch them against a lefty.
Well, I mean,
I wouldn't. Other way around. I wouldn't touch the pitcher against that team.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of other options further down here that we could take a look at. But if you wanted to pick an ace, personally, I would go with the guy that's hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Jason Hamill. Honestly, Miami's just okay. They're 12th against righties, but they do strike out quite a bit. But I just don't trust the Chicago Cubs to give him a lead in order to get the points to win.
Percentage-wise, they strike out the most against right-handed pitchers. The thing of it is, I don't understand how Jason Hamill is their 5th pitcher in this rotation. The way he's been pitching this year, he has actually been really good. He's
priced like their number 1 pitcher.
Yeah, him and Samardzija are on the wrong team, apparently.
And we'll be talking about Samardzija in the last segment of the show because he's pitching tomorrow,
yes,
and I like him a lot. Spoiler alert.
Unless he gets traded.
That's
Today,
true.
You think he's going to get traded right now?
That's very true. No, his name, and I'm not sure. I think Hamill's name came out too, right?
I don't know about Hamill, but
I know Samardzija's
Samardzija
definitely did. We'll have to check on that.
Hopefully, you didn't say he's in the last year of a contract, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's why they might move him, get rid of him. It could be a perfect time. For
at least when you trade somebody right before their contract's up, at least you get something for that pitcher because guess what? If he leaves in free agency, you get
nothing.
0. So the Cubs, believe me, Theo Epstein knows when to trade a lost cause. He's done it before. Manny Ramirez, anybody? So who knows?
I don't think Samardzija's a lost cause.
But I'm saying there's no chance he re-signs with this team.
Yeah, well, that's
so he's basically on that team. He is a lost cause.
Offensively, the Cubs are they're lost. They are lost.
All right, so we don't seem to have like a crazy consensus that we love anybody in this. You like Camels, you like Teheran. I'm okay with Teheran. He's my number 1 here, but honestly, I think I'm going a little bit lower to pick up some value. Tier number 2, we have Tyson Ross, Jared Weaver, Jason Vargas, Willie Peralta, Wei-Yin Chen, Ryu, Trevor Bauer, and Tom Kohler. Where are we going in here? Because there are a lot of names spread out between 14 and 10-3.
Well, I like Jared Weaver, but I don't like his matchup today, and he definitely had a really bad start either last time or the time before that. One of the last 2 games he did not do too well, so
yeah,
I'm kind of fading
Cleveland
off
has
of him.
been really, really good against righties. I'm actually thinking of stacking them against Weaver personally.
You could. He's still pitching okay. He's still pitching okay.
Well, he's due to throw a gem every once in a while. I'm looking at the top of this list. I like Tyson Ross a lot against Seattle. They're 28th against right-handed pitching and weighted on-base average. He's been really good this year. He's only had a couple bad outings, but I think his last time out he went 7 innings through 7 strikeouts, only 4 hits, 1 run. So he's been on a bit of a roll here. Another guy at the bottom of the list is Kohler going up against the Cubs.
Yeah,
you could take a look at him.
You know what the funny thing is? I actually have Tyson Ross listed as 1A and Tom Kohler listed as 1B because I could not decide between them because of their value is so much different. Yep. It's $4,000 between them. If they were the same price, I'd probably like Tyson Ross more. But the money makes me honestly think that these 2 could be my 1 and 2 pitchers for today.
Now, I got to be honest. I've been looking at taking some of the Cubs against bad pitchers, and it blew up in my face miserably. The Cubs are a very rough team on offense. They're not good. picking against them is almost a sure
There's
thing
just
at this
there's
point.
no rhyme or reason to their bats. There
really
is.
isn't.
It's like, hey Rizzo, what are you doing? I don't know.
I mean,
got
every
nothing.
once in a while, every couple of games he has a great game. A couple of guys will get lucky here and there, but they just don't seem to be able to put it all together so that you can actually confidently pick with them.
Yep. My other one I would consider is Wei Yin Chen, but Tampa Bay doesn't strike out nearly enough to make this interesting for me, and their bats they're in the bottom 5 in the league.
He had a great
lefties.
game against Boston last time, and
Yeah.
it got called short, but I don't know. I mean, he's one of those middling kind of pitchers that's not the right price. $11,305, not the right price.
Yeah,
for
I'd
him.
rather. You know what? Let's move on to Tier 3 because I think he should be in a tier like that if you're going to be interested in taking him. Tier 3 is Jake Odorizzi, Justin Verlander, your boy, Brandon McCarthy, Jacob deGrom, Chris Young, Drew Pomeranz, Rubby De La Rosa. I'm calling him Rubby. We're never calling him Ruby. Colby Lewis, Kevin Correa, Carlos Martinez, and Tyler Matzek. There are a lot of dumpster fires in this list, to be honest. I am probably stacking against half of this list. I'm not going to lie.
I want to go on the Verlander train. But I want to get off too. I want to get off the Verlander train.
You were on the Verlander train to hell.
What is wrong with him? We're talking about one of the best pitchers in the last 5 to 10 years, and he has just fallen off this year.
He's getting old. His
thrown-
strikeout numbers are coming down. He just hasn't been that solid.
He's thrown a lot of innings for the Tigers over the past few years. I think he might have a little bit of a dead arm syndrome going on, honestly. He's pitched so many innings.
Yeah, and every time he goes out there, he's always a candidate to go for 8 or 9 innings. So, obviously not this year, in the past. It could be time to really fade off of him. And I mean, his price is dropped so far.
Yeah, it's been way down.
It's bad.
All right, a guy that I'm actually looking at, aside from the Verlander crash train syndrome, is I'm looking at Ruby. I really am. I think against Minnesota, they strike out quite a bit. They're right in the middle of the pack against righties. Not the best matchup in the world. But again, Ruby has been pretty good. He's been striking out at almost 10 per 9 innings. That's the number you want to see because on StarFantasyLeagues.com, the biggest factor for picking a value pitcher is that strikeout percentage.
Yeah, and definitely a good matchup because on the other side of things, Correa, I think he got lucky. He was a blind squirrel finding a nut last time out. Don't think we're going to see the same. And De La Rosa could be in line for the win.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys we named that we do like stacking against. Chris Young's my personal favorite to stack against. He's pitching. Colby Lewis, another stack guy, and Correa, like you said. But man, there are a lot of guys that I just wouldn't touch in this list. Although I kind of want to take a flyer on Carlos Martinez for St. Louis.
Really?
Well, I do.
He's interesting. He's a reliever. He's making his first start.
Yep.
But he's probably only going to throw a few innings. I really like Tyler Matzek, though, against the Dodgers. They suck against lefties. I don't know.
All right, so apparently we're advocating put one of those value guys in there at the minimum on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you might find fantasy gold, right?
Might do it.
I'll say, we hope you don't find Justin Verlander fool's gold out there.
Maybe you'll find a Ruby.
All right, coming after the break, it is time for Bill Spaceman Lee, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League Show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League Show, and as you heard, it is time for John Old's mailbag. Unfortunately, we're supposed to have Bill Spaceman Lee from the Boston Red Sox on, but I believe he's somewhere else right now. We don't know. He's somewhere in the stratosphere, probably.
Well, maybe he's enjoying a fine garbage plate from Rochester's finest establishment, Penfield Hots.
Is he in town right now?
Well, maybe he is.
Well, considering we called him on the West Coast, I do not think he's home right now.
Well, how
Maybe
do you know
he's
that?
making a garbage plate then, John.
Oh, you know what? Maybe he's preparing for his trip to Rochester by making a garbage plate.
You got to put the Franks in there. Put the Franks in.
How are you going to get Red Hots all the way out in
Oh,
California?
you can. Trust me. When I was out there, I made sure I could get Frank's Red Hot. Otherwise, I was going back east.
Zweigels will actually ship you hot dogs in a cooler.
Really?
Yes. So you can get white hots anywhere.
You can actually do the same with Pontillos. You can send it freeze dried. Oh yeah, here we go. See,
freeze-dried, that's what
here
it
we
is.
go.
Yep.
This is
Hold
it
on,
gives
I'm
me
sorry.
the face when I
Hold on.
call out the best pizza place in Rochester.
From a station standpoint, all of my thoughts are my thoughts. They do not represent the station that we are currently on. Yes, I needed to say that apparently because I get yelled at if I make fun of food.
So what do you have a problem with Montillo's?
I'm just not talking anymore.
He doesn't like
What's your favorite pizza in Rochester?
You can say a positive thing about pizza.
My favorite pizza in Rochester is no.
And no, he goes with no. You mean pho, because he would rather go to pho than have some pizza.
He doesn't like pizza.
No, dude, you're kidding me. I love pizza.
Just because you can't get tendons on a pie, John, doesn't mean
first
you're
off,
entitled to your opinion.
I don't like tendons and pho either. I don't know who ordered the tendons. Who was that? Was that you?
No, it was on the
ordered
menu.
the tendons.
Yeah, of course it's on the menu. It makes
you get all like the whole package.
Yes, thank you.
Tendons and
the whole disgusting
brain.
package.
All right, today's John's mailbag is not sponsored by pho. It's not sponsored.
Pho.
You're right.
Yeah, thank you. Pho.
You're right. It just can't happen.
For a man that lived in San Francisco, you didn't appreciate the pho?
They had so many other great things there. Why would and yeah, I probably could have if I tried it out there, but we're talking about Rochester. And
All right.
Rochester has its own delicacies.
We're talking about Rochester. We're talking about giving away 2 tickets to the game on Wednesday, Rochester Red Wings against the Paw Sox. You get to meet Bill Spaceman Lee, unless, again, he's spacemanning somewhere in the stratosphere. I don't really know.
There might be some current Red Sox in that lineup.
That is true. Might be some current Red Sox. Might be a future Red Sox throwing out the first pitch. That's going to be me.
That's just not going to happen.
Damn it. You guys are the worst.
It's never going to happen.
All right, there was a big event that happened last night, so I think we need to talk about it. And
Yes.
What was it? What happened last night?
Yes,
Okay,
that's what
fine.
happened.
We'll talk about it. Jimmy S. writes, despite your predictions, the San Antonio Spurs dominated the Heat yet again, clinching the Larry O'Brien trophy in just 5 games. Is this the end for the Big 3 Miami Heat?
Who wrote that question? Jimmy
S.
Jimmy Smith.
Yes.
What? Yes?
Yes, because this is awesome, because that series was phenomenal, because that's what everybody was waiting for 365 days from last year's finals.
I have. Yeah,
Yes.
All right, I have to be accountable because I predicted this exact thing, even in the fashion that it happened.
Of course you have to be accountable when you're correct. Come on.
Hey, on the show, we preach accountability, whether you're right or
You're right,
wrong.
you're
I
right.
believe Zach picked the Clippers to win the title, right?
Uh-huh.
Who'd you pick? The
I
Heat?
picked the team that won.
Did you really? You picked San
No.
Antonio? Okay, you picked the Heat, didn't you?
No, I didn't pick the Heat.
Oh, who'd you?
I thought the Spacers, the Pacers.
Wow.
I thought the Pacers were going to beat the Heat, honestly, but they didn't come with the fire like the Spurs did, because the Spurs had that game last year in their brain the entire year,
West
the whole year.
is best.
Hold on? Did you notice this? Remember how they had the rope around the court when there were like 2 or 3 minutes left in the game last year in Game 6? Did not come out this year.
Nope.
No rope around the court. Didn't want to bring back those memories. I know that they had something to do with that.
Absolutely. I mean, Tim Duncan said it right after the game. He said, we know what happened last year. We remember what happened with 30 seconds left. We weren't going to let that happen. They were going to finish the game out right till the very end, and that's just a great lesson for anybody watching in sports. That's the way you play the game. That's just the way it's supposed to be.
You know what? Those announcers are jerks. Like, they immediately go up to all the players. Not congratulations, you did it. It's like, how does this feel now that last year is basically erased? Like, stop bringing up last year. They just won the title. Leave last year alone.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate way to go about your business, but I think I really truly enjoyed watching that interview with Duncan right after the game.
He's great.
He's a class act. He just knows exactly how to say. He's very well spoken, well mannered. He's a great guy. He's a great player to look up to, and I really hope that that's the kind of team that we get to look at moving forward in the NBA, because as we know, there's going to be tons of craziness this offseason and next.
Yeah. Speaking of the Big 3, I think they're all going to be together next year.
Somewhere else?
No, in Miami.
Oh, really?
Why would they not opt into their $20 million contracts? I'd be shocked if they didn't. I think they're all going to, opt in, and it's just going to crush that team again. They're not going to have. They're going to have like $9 million to spend on the rest of their team.
Well, did you see who just opted out too? Chris Anderson just opted out of his contract, so he's probably gone. I mean, what is this team? This team is done.
Well,
they're in trouble.
It's all surrounding Carmelo, because he opted out.
Well, no, he hasn't opted out yet.
Oh, he hasn't?
No, he hasn't until June 23rd, I believe.
23rd, next week.
Yep.
Next Monday.
There wasn't like a report or something?
There was a report that he will test free agency, but he has not actually opted out. Yes, it's reports.
I mean, that whole mess is just another circus, 3-ring circus, just like the one we saw a few years ago.
The decision,
yeah, that whole thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a shot at redemption for LeBron, and don't worry, he'll screw up again.
You know what? The worst thing about talking about all this is? We're not talking enough about what the San Antonio Spurs did. We talked about earlier in the show. We talked about the records that were broken in the series. The highest team shooting field goal percentage in NBA Finals history, 52.8% in the series.
Phenomenal.
Disgusting. I mean,
They won by like an average of 17 points.
14.5, the highest margin of victory in an NBA Finals. That's just, they killed
The best part about it all was that it came from different players on different nights. Yes, Kawhi Leonard, I think we can all agree, was the runaway MVP. Kind of stood out a little bit more than everybody else.
His stats weren't the best ever. 17.8 points, 6.4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, but 58% on threes, 61% overall. But I think the defense had a big part to play in
His
that.
defense, because,
Yeah.
the job
On
he
LeBron
did on
James.
LeBron James was textbook. You're not going to be able to stop him every single time he comes down the floor. Last night he started the game off extremely hot.
Yeah, they were up. Weren't they up like 16?
They were up
really
quite
early?
a bit. They were up double digits very early. They got back down to earth. They got back down to their basics. They started off on defense, and he really led the charge once again. And then the role players stepped in. Patty Mills, oh my goodness, that third quarter was unbelievable.
He had the second highest PER, which is player efficiency rating, of the series of any player. He was behind LeBron only.
Just a
That's
great story
insane.
there. Just a great story. He was just raining down threes, and it was a real pleasure to watch that.
Yeah, the whole team throughout the whole series, they were right up on the Heat players, swiping at the ball. I think the funniest thing of the game last night was towards the end of the game when Dwayne Wade missed 2 free throws, and then the next trip down the court, he tried to throw an alley-oop to Chris Bosh and just totally friggin'
missed.
bricked it.
Totally missed.
It just put icing on the cake
absolutely.
right there.
Cherry right on top.
A cherry on the crap
fantastic.
Sunday that was the Miami Heat's finals.
Although I think we did say this just a little bit in the first segment of the show. I wouldn't go putting it all on the Heat for being bad. I really think the Spurs were just that good.
Yeah,
shooting
a team,
that well.
A team.
Exactly. If they had guys coming off the bench that they were up and down during the season. They were the most consistent team throughout the season. But when you have a guy like Patty Mills that comes in and rains down 3 consecutive 3-pointers, just boom, 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 what are you supposed to do with that? How are you supposed to defend that? Because you can't be right up in every player's face on both units. It's just not possible.
I'm so glad we get to talk about all the players on the team because a special mention needs to be made for Boris Diaw.
Mm-hmm.
That guy a couple years ago was pretty much out of the league, overweight, didn't look like he wanted to play anymore. He kind of had a nice little resurgence these past 2 years with San Antonio. He played defense on LeBron pretty well, too.
And we haven't even talked about Pop.
Who? He doesn't want to be mentioned, remember?
I know.
He said, I have nothing to do with this. Leave me out of it.
Yeah,
did he get an interview? He didn't get an interview after the
No,
game.
I
I don't think he wanted one. He
Good.
was in the background, which is great to see.
Good, perfect for him.
Looked so joyful for his players. But he's got to be one of the best coaches of all time, any sport.
And everyone, the best part is everyone tried to thank him first. Or thanks to Coach Pop. Thanks to Coach Pop. That's pretty important that all the players like him that much.
That's where I think it all starts from. That's really, that's the attitude that he brings in, and that's what those guys look up to. If you can create that air in your organization of it's not me first, it's we first.
Yep.
If you can do that from the top down, that's where you're going to see that kind of
that's
long-term
exactly
success.
what the owner said too.
Yep.
I believe the owner's name was Steve Holt, by the way. Steve Holt. No.
And you look at the relationship with Pop and Kawhi Leonard. That was something special to see as
great.
well.
That was
So,
great.
Young, soft-spoken kid will be interesting to see where he goes. 22 years old, Finals MVP, youngest since Tim Duncan. 22.
Yep.
I thought it was Magic Johnson.
No,
Tim Duncan was the other one,
Youngest
22
since
years
Tim
old.
Duncan. Yep.
All right, we got to move on. The draft is coming soon. I'm excited. Basketball is not over. It's just beginning again. I love basketball.
That's exactly what
Love
Tim
it.
Duncan said.
Yep. All right, we got to get to our last question. Eric E. writes, the opening weekend of the World Cup provided plenty of excitement, but amazingly, 0 ties. What were some of the highlights during the group stages for you guys?
How about Spain losing 5-1? Oh my goodness.
That was a little weird.
Well, they really are, over the past 6 years, they've been the best country or best nation in soccer. They've won the Euro title twice, and they won the World Cup.
They won the World Cup, yeah.
So they have been the team to beat. They came into this very quietly, but 5-1, that was not expected whatsoever.
Well, yeah, Netherlands has a great team, obviously. They've got
Yes, they
2
do.
great strikers up top. How about 5 of the first 9 games were comeback wins? Only happened 3 times all last year.
Yeah, it's pretty rare in soccer. Especially if you're down 1 or 2 goals, it's pretty much considered 2 is considered over, right? If you're down 2 goals, second half.
Never over, but the odds
It's
are
pretty
way
difficult.
bad, and they're much worse in soccer.
Yeah, and Messi finally scored a goal, another World Cup goal, his first since 8
2.
games.
He has 2. That's
Yeah.
it.
But it had been 8 games since his first one.
You hear a name like that, one of the most prolific goal scorers in soccer. You'd think he'd have more than 2 goals in the World Cup.
It's really funny when people try to compare him and Pele. They ask Pele that kind of question. He says, well, when he scores 1,000 goals, we'll talk. It's pretty true.
It's like, ooh, Pele burned, but it's true, actually.
It's very true.
Whoops.
So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement still to come. There's a lot of good things coming up. USA tonight. Let's hope that we can get back to Ghana. Let's go.
Oh, stop that.
USA.
Oh, my God.
USA.
Okay, so today on the Star Fantasy League Show, it's all about chanting and singing, right?
Serenade from USA.
Oh, my God. You guys are the worst. We have to talk about this. They're in our group. This Portugal game that just happened. What the heck happened to Portugal?
Yeah, well, I mean, what was his name there? Pepe?
Pepe.
With a headbutt?
Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, my God. I thought we were done with this after
No.
Zidane.
Yeah.
For a guy that has some anger issues, okay, it was kind of a stupid penalty. He, kind of elbowed him in the face, but then went over and headbutted the guy for supposedly flopping on the play. That's why he headbutted him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really smart move. That's a really great way to go.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
gone.
hats off to you.
He's gone for the rest of the World Cup, right? He
Yeah,
has
Germany
to be.
looked great, though. They're going to be tough competition,
For
especially
these,
in the
man.
group of death.
That's
Hopefully
per
USA
the
gets it
usual.
done tonight.
I think they will.
Let's hope. Let's hope USA gets 3 points right away. That means we'll be on the top of that group of death. That'd be
Let's
nice
do
to
it.
see. All right, coming after the break, we're giving you a full breakdown of Major League Baseball for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at StarFantasyLeagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League Show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick. Only on The Team.
You've never been so wrong, Mr. Cage Guy. He still can't get it right. We promoted Jason Gringer into the leadoff spot. You said you wanted to be a batter, right? I'm switching you to batting.
That's fine.
Okay. You're on the leadoff spot. You're back on Mondays. I think this might be your first time on a Monday show.
It may be.
I don't know why we care. All the days are the same. Everything's equal on the Star Fantasy Show. If you're on the show, that means you're part of the starting rotation.
And the Cage Guy's always wrong.
Yeah, he is always wrong. Although, Nick, you're back. I'm here. We just got to get him to learn to say your name.
When
Say
is
my
that gonna
name.
be?
Say my name.
Thank you so much for that. That didn't need to happen, and you just did it.
It didn't, but it did.
Awful. All right, we need to. Earlier in the show, we looked at today's pitching matchups, but we need to move on. We're not talking about the past. We're not talking about the present. We are talking about the future. We're talking about Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We got 14 games to look at. It's about as big a schedule as you can get, other than a full schedule, right?
We are talking about the future butt whooping that I'm going to lay on Jonald.
Okay, I didn't want to bring it up, but it is 10-8.
You wanted to bring it up, but guess what? We're not talking about the past.
I have won, I believe, 6 of the last 7 against you.
You have not. That's a lie.
No, 'cause remember I won 4 in a row, and
Yes.
then you won 1, and now I've won 2 in a row. That's 6 of the last 7.
I'm contesting this.
So you had quite the lead.
I had 2. I had a lead of 2.
Yeah, and then I went back up by 2. Yeah, whatever. It happened.
I would like to see where this is going eventually.
Yeah.
Just this season-long marathon that we're having.
You know what? We're keeping track because our listeners have tweeted us at SFL Show saying they like the competition aspect of the Star Fantasy League Show, so we're going with it. Whatever.
Can I get in on this?
No.
Can I just start from 0?
Nope. I'm not interested because he's
he
going to
wants
beat
to
us.
start from 0, and he thinks he will just catch up.
See if I can catch up.
He might. I don't want to talk about it. All right, let's get into this 14-game slate. We like to talk about stacks first. Stacking means you can put anywhere from 2 up to 4 from the same offense on your fantasy team on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 4 is the max, though. Do not try to put more. Nick, I know you like to do illegal things. Do not do that.
I don't do illegal things in front of you.
I'll say, tweet us when you're trying to win tickets. Not cool.
Again, not in front of you.
All right, Jason, where are we starting for your stack of the day?
I think the obvious choice here is going up against our boy Wade Miley.
Oh, look
The Brewers.
at that. We're talking about Wade Miley. What a surprise. Anytime you see a name like Wade Miley, we talked to Derek Montilla on Friday about our boy Wade, and he seemed to think that he's doing fine. Sure, yeah. They're in denial down in Arizona.
He's
They're
great.
they're in denial.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Especially at home. He's 1-5 with a 5.69 ERA. He's given up 11 home runs there in 8 games started. Right-handed batters have a weighted on-base average of 350 against him. That's 12th highest in the NL. And if you're looking to stack the Brew Crew, I'm liking the 3 through 6 hitters. That's Jonathan Lucroy, Carlos Gomez, Aramis Ramirez, Chris Davis. All have a weighted on-base average against left-handed pitching over 400, and Chris Davis's is 492.
Yeah, I saw that number, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Chris Davis. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's not going to be my play of the day, but the Brewers they're also my stack of the day. And, yeah, I think you can get so much value out of this offense in a stack because other than Carlos Gomez, everybody else is like 8,000 and under.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you want if you have some money. Because, let's be honest, tomorrow there are a lot of elite pitchers going, but we're going to talk about that later because now we're on bats, but the elite pitchers are definitely part of the conversation when you're trying to fit in some of these big bats. All right, where else are we going, Nick?
Well, the highest over-under of the night tomorrow is the LA Angels at Cleveland, I believe, around 9. Is that what we had?
Yep, that's the highest on my list.
All right, awesome. He was about to give me the look. I didn't know what to do.
No, I was making sure. we fact check on the Start Fantasy League show. I'm not just going to go willy-nilly and be like, yeah, it's 8 and 2/4.
The stat guy in the window gave us a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Looked at?
I can't see it. He's behind me, so I can't see him.
Imaginary stat guy, thank you very much.
Hey, don't we have people working on the show round the clock.
You're right. Anyways, we have Shoemaker versus Tomlin tomorrow. They both had good and bad starts, but this isn't a game where I would take either of them. I would stack against Shoemaker. I like Cleveland's numbers against right-handed pitching, and I think you could see one, maybe even 2 home runs tomorrow. I like Lonnie Chisenhall, Michael Brantley, who doesn't like Michael Brantley, and David Murphy and Asdrubal Cabrera.
I like Michael Brantley a lot, but we keep talking about some of these guys who are really standing out. His price tag is shooting up on StarFantasyLeague.com. He's over 10,000 again.
I noticed he's a top hitter, I think.
What's
as far
that?
as salary goes, he's the highest. He's number 1 now.
Is he really?
Yes.
Wow, so that must have mean Tulo came down.
I mean, he's been up there, yeah, with Tulo. Miggy's been up there too. There's been a couple of guys that are up around 10,000. You got to hope that you have to expect that he is going to put up some big numbers. I really think that tomorrow could be a good one for him. So
yeah,
go with Cleveland.
I'm all over this team. Also, this is another one of those cheap ones. Aside from the big boy, obviously he's one of the most expensive in the league. Chisenhall's around the 8 mark. Kipnis is under 8 if you want to go for him, and then David Murphy's under 7 right now. These are all lefties who. Matt Shoemaker's not so good against lefties. That's kind of the thing I'm going for. Obviously, you try to get the 2 through 6 area to get the most runs produced, but I'm not afraid of just going all lefties on this matchup.
You can find some pretty reasonable, like real value stacks tomorrow night. I think there's a couple of them out on the board. So I mean, if you're looking at guys like Brantley and Chisenhall, you might be able to supplement them with some cheaper players from another team.
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about it. It's the elephant in the room. We just mentioned this earlier. The Chicago Cubs. They have another one of these great, what you think on paper is a great matchup against Jacob Turner, who has a 6 ERA, doesn't strike many people out. I mean, my brain wants to stack the Chicago Cubs, but my heart is like, don't ever do that. I don't know what to do in these situations.
Listen to your heart.
Oh my! Why is this whole show turned into American Idol? Every single person on this show starts singing.
This is Serenading Monday.
Great. So we have Food Tuesday, Serenading Monday on the Star Fantasy League show. If you're just tuning in right now, we're talking Tuesday Major League Baseball on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Not Serenading, not American Idol, not Food Tuesday, MLB Tuesday.
We have yet to get to the home fries. But anyways. No, I share your sentiment. I really do, because I've said this earlier. I would love to put a couple of the Cubs in there, but the only one that you could really say that has any bearing on this game would be Anthony Rizzo. But then you want to stack around him. You want to get the 5th guy in there. You want to get the 6th batter in there. I can't rely on Starlin Castro to get it done. He just doesn't. Every once in a while he'll come up and say, hey, you know what? I do know how to play baseball, but it's not frequent enough.
Hey, baseball's cool. I mean, and let's be honest, this game is not in Wrigley Field. I'd be much more comfortable playing any Chicago Cubs in Wrigley as opposed to on the road, especially somewhere like Miami.
Yeah, agreed.
Not a fan.
I've got another out-of-the-box kind of stack against a really elite pitcher.
Are you stealing my idea?
I don't know.
Because I think I know where you're going. Are you going with the Oakland Athletics?
You know it.
Of course you are, because I actually have them written down. One of the best BVP stats that I've seen in a while is Brandon Moss against Yu Darvish. He has 4 home runs in 20 at-bats?
Yeah, the A's have absolutely owned Darvish in his career. In 9 games started against them, Darvish is 1-7 with a 4.73 ERA, and his 3 games in Oakland, which they are tomorrow, he's 0-2 with a 7.71 ERA.
He's played them two times this year. Neither outing. One outing was 1 1/3.
Yeah,
and the other one was 4. And he has not been good against this Oakland team. I mean,
they've got his number for sure.
Yeah, they are one of the best offenses in the league. They're probably top 5 overall right now.
Easily, yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, I have no problem stacking against the grain. That's kind of my thing. I like to go with the out-of-the-box stack. That's why I brought up the Cubs. Obviously, we're not doing that, but Oakland is a great out-of-the-box stack especially with, I think there's 4 or 5 pitchers over 20,000 going tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of people see the name and then say, "Oh, I'm not touching those guys."
Exactly.
But there's some stats for you.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you look a little deeper, you can do that with any stat. You can find something on the other side of anybody else's argument. But with this Yu Darvish thing, I mean, he's been great this season, 2.11 ERA. But if you take out those 2 isolated Oakland games, it's a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, there are a couple of other guys out there with similar price tags. Scherzer and Cueto are a couple of them. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be going with that, I would steer clear. Steer clear tomorrow.
All right, you know what? Let's make a little bit of a switch. We've mentioned a bunch of offenses we like, but we got to talk about pitchers for Tuesday. There are a lot of them and a lot of expensive guys. We have Cueto, we have Tanaka, we have Darvish, all over 20,000. I think we just made a case against you, Darvish, because of his tumultuous history against the Oakland Athletics. Personally, my boy is Tanaka, but I am not at all interested in him against Toronto in New York. I mean, I don't think I would be into him in Toronto either, but...
No, I was going to say, this is one where I'd like to kind of sit back and be a baseball fan in this game, because this is kind of the matchup we've been waiting for if you are a baseball fan. We wanted to see Tanaka go up against a great offense in Toronto. Toronto, I still feel like, is reeling off just a little bit, so we might get to see Tanaka do pretty well. But from a fantasy standpoint, it's just not worth taking the risk.
Yes, especially with so many other big pitchers on the board and his price tag. Usually, if you can find some value to get in, I really had trouble finding value on this day. Did anybody else have trouble?
No, not really.
Finding value pitchers?
I like a lot of guys in the mid-range. A few guys, Waka against the Mets.
Okay, I was talking when I put in Tanaka last time. I put in like 2 guys under 8,000. I was unable to do that today. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I couldn't find anybody that low that I really loved.
Yeah.
But a few middle-range guys, Waka, Lester, and Santana are 3 guys I'm targeting.
Yeah, and I think tomorrow might be that day where you need to kind of put your money towards some pitching. I mean, I like Samardzija. I really like Jeff Samardzija tomorrow. I think that Miami strikes out enough where he should be able to make value. He could exceed value exceptionally, and if Jacob Turner really is that bad, then he might actually wind up with a win. But I mean, this guy gets no run support from the Cubs. Absolutely none.
That's why he might be on his way out, apparently.
I think I read a stat. It was either 4 or 5 out of his 13 starts this year, the Cubs have gotten shut out.
Yep.
That's just horrible. That's horrible.
That's any starter on the Cubs. They probably all have the same stats.
Most of the other ones, there was like 1 running score for him.
That's horrible for him. I mean, he really needs to get out of there.
This used to happen to King Felix like all the time. That's why he won the Cy Young with 16 wins or something really low. But I mean, I am considering Jacob Turner if I'm going to go something ridiculous, only because if he's playing against these Chicago Cubs, especially if it's in Miami, I'm not opposed to it, but it is a way out of the box way of thinking. I'd rather put in the 2 middle guys and then go a little high.
I wouldn't be opposed to it either, though. $4,500 minimum salary. If he does get hit, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be an explosion of runs.
The Chicago Cubs don't have that in them.
So I mean, at worst, you're looking at maybe he only comes out with a point or 2. You're not going to sacrifice a ton to get him in there. And then you can put in some really top-level pitchers.
Yeah, another guy we didn't mention. I mean, there are a lot of pitchers to talk about. There's a lot of big names. Tanner Rourke's an interesting guy. Against Houston, they strike out the 5th highest percentage in the league. They're around 20th in the league against righties. I think that could be a decent matchup to look at, although he is going up against Dallas Keuchel, who is another stud pitcher who's a little bit more expensive. I'm not calling him Keuchel. You keep giving him that look, Jason. I'm not calling him Keuchel on the air. If that's real,
Keuchel, damn it.
If that is real, is that real?
That's how they say it.
I don't believe you. Huh? I just don't believe you. That's one of those things. I'm never going to come around to saying it.
Well, the only thing about Dallas is that the Nationals are 7th in WOBA versus left-handed pitchers. So, and they're coming back. I think they're actually on a surge.
Well, they're getting some players healthy. Where's Bryce? Where are you, Bryce?
July.
I know. Isn't that depressing? Baseball's better when all the best players are healthy. That's what we want to see. All right, coming after the break, it is time for us to give you all of our top plays of the day for MLB Tuesday. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
Welcome back to the singing edition of the Star Fantasy League show, because today, apparently on this show, everybody just wants to sing.
Would you give us a number, Donald? Just a little one.
You want me to beatbox for you? What do you want?
No, just a little tune.
A little ditty?
A little ditty.
A little
Just
ditty
one.
for Nick Steblenko. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing
No.
this. Exactly. That's perfect. All right, we need to get to our top plays of the day for StarFantasyLeagues.com. On Tuesday, baseball, lots of games to talk about. We need to give them our top plays so that they can win, and we won't win.
And our top home fries once again.
Oh, my God. It's not Tuesday. We're talking about food on
I thought
Tuesday.
we were predicting Tuesday.
You're predicting food on Tuesday?
Predicting our food choices for tomorrow.
I think we're going to be talking about burritos tomorrow. No? Ooh, burritos.
That sounds good.
Let's go for lunch burritos tomorrow. Done. Done. If you want to find us in Rochester, go get some burritos.
Well, we can't go to Moe's because he hates Moe's.
Yeah, I don't like Moe's.
He doesn't
All
like
right,
Moe's.
we got to get to our top plays. We're running out of hours in the day, daylight, all that good stuff.
All right, as previously mentioned, we love the Brew Crew tomorrow night. My top batter of the day is Jonathan Lucroy.
Your top batter, not our top batter.
I said
How
my.
dare you?
I said my.
Miley?
I claimed him.
Okay, good. You're allowed to.
In his career against Wade Miley, he's 3 for 9 with a double and a home run. But in his last 13 games, he's tearing it up. He's hitting .411. 7 of those are multi-hit games. 4 doubles, 4 homers, 10 RBI. He's got a .407 weighted on-base average against left-handed pitching, which is good for 14th in the National League. My pitcher of the day tomorrow is Irvin Santana for the Braves, going up against the Phillies, coming in at 12,400.
Boo. Oh, sorry. Yep, just boo. Not a fan.
Phillies are 27th in the majors against right-handed pitching. He had to start against Philadelphia earlier this year. He struck out 11 guys. He started off great. Went through a little rough patch. He's looked better lately. I don't know. I like the pitch. He's a mid-range guy. Pick.
Okay, you're allowed to do that.
Pick.
All right, we know you like the Brewers. Who do you like for value? I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's a value brewer, of course.
Yeah,
right?
your boy Ricky Weeks, second baseman for
You
the
just said
Brewers.
it's my boy. You can't steal him.
Well, I just did.
Okay.
Oh,
Boom.
Played.
All right, Nick, go ahead.
All right, my pitcher of the day is going to be John Lester because he is my boy. I love Lester. I think he always has a high ceiling no matter who he's facing, but he is facing the Minnesota Twins, a team that loves to strike out against left-handed pitchers.
Go Sox!
My batter is going to be Lonnie Chisenhall, the third baseman for Cleveland. He is at 8,300, 429 weighted on-base average, and 6 home runs versus right-handed pitchers this season, so make sure he's in your lineup. Value play is going to be Danny Espinosa, the second baseman for Washington. He's batting 7th in the order. He's 3,700 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. He's pretty solid versus left-handed pitchers, so I think you could go with those 4 through 7 hitters, and you might be able to get some extra value, if you will. And then my stack of the day is the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, man, you guys stole everything I liked. Although somehow you managed to tiptoe around my play of the day. Carlos Gomez, gotta love him. He's the top-priced guy for Milwaukee, but I also think he has the highest upside of any of the Milwaukee Brew Crew. I'm going for Michael Wacha for pitcher of the day. I think the New York Mets are probably the best team to target right now, or one of the best teams from a pitching standpoint. They are just atrocious.
Yeah, the other one's the Cubs.
Correct. And occasionally the White Sox, as long as they're facing the correct side of the plate, lefties. They're bad against lefties. I'm also going with Andre Ethier in the outfield for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yeah, I like his matchup against Jules Chassin. And then you stole my stacks, guys. I'm not okay with that. I'm going to go with the Brew Crew.
Is that Ethier thing? Is that going to be a movie? Andre Ethier's in the outfield?
No.
No? Not
How
like,
dare you?
Not
No.
like Angels?
You're ruining
No?
value time. If you want to win 2 tickets to see the Rochester Red Wings on Wednesday, June 18th, that's 2 days from now. All you got to do is tweet us at SFL Show. You get $5 free in your account, too. Just tweet us your username. Again, at SFL Show. It's really easy. Are we giving away just way, way too much value to these listeners?
I don't know. I think it's a fair amount of
What do
value.
you mean, I don't know?
Well, you don't give me any, so I don't. Whatever.
Okay.
I listen to the show every day.
Just because we give away free fantasy knowledge every single day, Monday through Friday. We give away all this stuff, and still I have to keep saying to the end of the show, if you're friends with Wade Miley, you need our help a lot more than you think. Take it easy, guys.